Welcome back to the world of the Real Triathlon Podcast. Some may say it's the real world of triathlon. Today we have the main point of news that everyone subscribes to in the Tempo News, and that's Olympian Matt Sharp.
Hey, gang. Happy to be here. Happy to be with everyone here. It's going to be a fun time. Stoked to talk about the news and whatever else we get to.
And, dude, look how professional you are right now.
I know. I am in full, mountain mode. We got a lot of stuff going on with this flow.
And the mic.
But,
well, yeah.
And the mic. Matt, I have to tell you that I've been listening to some of your podcasts, the new Tempo Talks podcast.
You have been.
On some of my longer rides, yeah. So
it's not too long, though, right? I feel like it's a reasonable length.
They're not long enough. That's my issue.
Ooh, okay.
Because I'm going on like a 4-hour bike ride, and it's like a 40-minute episode, and I'm like, dang it, that means I have to pull out my phone again and find something else to listen to. So if you can extend it to maybe closer to that 2 to 4 hour range, that would be
yeah.
bueno.
We can definitely do that. Go into like Rogan territory for sure. We can find a way. Just talk about UFOs, and that gets at least another 2 hours, something like that.
2 to 4 hour podcast.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa.
My gosh. Well, Matt, you have been killing it. Can you give us, just before we hop into any topics, like what are some updates, life updates, business updates? What is new in your world since the last probably 3 or 4 months we've had you?
Yeah, I feel like a bit has happened. Yeah, definitely some injury updates on our end. So my wife, Kirsten Casper, last year, Olympian in Paris, Team USA, she had this labral tear. Lisa's familiar with this. Garrick's familiar with these. And it just wasn't healing properly. So she ended up getting surgery on that a couple weeks ago. And yeah, it's a big surgery. You got to go in and fix the tear. It's kind of crazy. So she's dealing with that. I broke my toe, which is not as serious, thankfully, but kind of annoying getting a broken bone. And that was not really epic at all. I tripped over my dog and landed on the toe in like the flex position. And yeah, it popped. There was a pop. It was like,
dude.
So yeah, that was painful.
But is Reggie okay?
Reggie's, he's fine. He was just, he didn't understand what was going on. I'm writhing in pain. The dog's just, okay, whatever.
He's like, we're going on a walk, man. Let's go.
Give me a treat. Come on. So yeah. Otherwise, nothing crazy. I was going to race in Oceanside. Is anybody here going to Oceanside?
I am. Heading
Okay.
over.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You're going to hold down the fort then. I won't be doing that now, but yeah, going to plan on doing St. George actually, which I'm very, very excited about. Never been.
Will you not be recovered in time for St. Anthony's? OG returning? One of the returning champs?
Yeah, breaking news, will not be returning to St. Anthony's. Definitely not
Spoiler.
Really big news. Spoiler, exactly. That's why people listen for these tidbits. They want the gossip. And yeah, no St. Anthony's, sadly. Definitely one of my favorite races, but you're going, I guess, Lisa, hey?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
You're
It's
gonna
my
smash
favorite
it.
all time. Yeah.
Excellent.
But St. George, it's the last race. You got to go. Last year
for
of
sure.
The race.
I'm super excited to check out St. George. I heard, Nick Chase lives there, so I kind of want to see that neck of the woods, see where all the, content's coming from there. Yeah, super excited. It's obviously iconic, so it's going to be a really great experience. And there's just a lot of people. I feel like you guys know a lot of people who are going, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a big event. We've got a lot of partnerships happening. So we'll have like a whole schedule calendar for the whole week. So when you come out, and make sure you let me know if you need a homestay, I'll get you set up.
Perfect.
Take good care of you. And also, can I just also say, it's like the 4th person in the last 3 or 4 weeks who's got a foot thing. Like, it's happening. It's happening, pro triathletes. Do those exercises. Garrick, is your foot okay, Garrick?
What'd you do?
My foot. Jackson broke his foot. My foot's doing just fine.
I know, but I'm just making sure yours is okay, dude. Just doing a pulse check. For Christ's sake.
Yeah, no, my dorsal pulse is fine.
Excellent.
Okay. So, Matt, we've got some surgeries going on within your neck of the woods. Not you, but I mean, what's your recovery like? What are you planning on starting to come back? How do you handle that really quickly?
Yeah, definitely frustrating because I was really stoked to train for Oceanside, get amongst that. I mean, the beauty of triathlon, obviously I can't run, but I've been able to swim and bike and do some gym stuff through all this. So really, yeah, honestly, I would say this is not a massive setback, But it is frustrating. But then after seeing Kirsten get the surgery, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing so bad.
Yeah.
You focus on what you can do. That's the biggest thing. And I could do a lot of things. So that's it.
You could even you could maybe do some other things like those ski. What do they do in High Rocks? Those like ski crazy
Oh
things.
man,
Like
I would hurt myself. A triathlete doing that high rock stuff. This guy especially too. There's a lot of like, I don't know, lankiness going on. I don't have control of these limbs.
a lot of overhead lifting.
Yeah, overhead lifting. Man, what else do they do? I could do obviously the running part pretty well. Yeah, we got to do a high rock
pushes and
one
pulls.
of these days.
We should do like our
Hospital
own.
after.
It should be called the weak ass
The
triathlete high
the
rocks.
lamest high rock. It's like, these guys aren't lifting anything. What's going on?
Like that's an 8 kilogram kettlebell. I'm not sure they make them lighter.
No.
Matt, so some topics for today. I think we should dig into just one that I get your tempo news, and so I wanted to talk
Nice.
about the fatal finances USA or forces USAT triathlon push for growth. Now, it's been long known and said amongst even the pro environment that USAT, we kind of like wonder what's going on there. We don't understand sometimes the decisions or lack of decisions. Transparency would be great, but what are your insights into the state of USAT? And even after you've written that article, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I got a lot of insights from actually a Slow Twitch article that one of the editors there wrote. He did a good job on like kind of a deep dive into the finances and stuff. But basically, coming out of COVID, obviously hard on every triathlon entity, USAT especially, because they just saw a huge drop in, I guess, memberships. Like that's such a huge component of their finances. I think sponsorships as well dropped off a little bit. And ultimately there was some decisions on like what they were putting their money into and stuff that maybe weren't the right call. I don't know, but mostly memberships got them kind of these $1 million, almost $2 million budget shortfalls in 2022 and 2023 as well.
What
So, yeah,
were the salaries
tough.
like at USAT? How much
They were, there were some good ones. I wouldn't say no to them personally. I do know. I think the CEO, Victoria Brumfield, I think she was getting $350K to lead USAT, and at the end of the day, she's not going to have control over these kind of big macro issues of people maybe not signing up for races. Like it's out of your hands. So, but I do think, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like there's been some issues too with I think they tried to address one of the budget shortfalls with a new membership rollout. I don't know if you guys remember.
I haven't seen
there
it
was
yet.
a bit of an uproar. That was last year. They basically kind of tried to come out with these new tiers of racing, of new tiers of membership. Do you recall this?
I do recall that
wasn't it-
now.
The top tier was like $400 or something.
Yeah, and it was like, I just remember reading it and being like, what are you getting for this money? And it was like a Zone 3 pull buoy, and it was also included it also included like your fee to world championships, which maybe wasn't communicated properly. I don't know, but people were going nuts, like losing their minds on that, and it was a poor rollout. Yeah, they did a bad job on that, and that probably turned some folks away as well. So I think they had to adjust from that as well. But yeah, definitely some budget shortfalls with USAT recently, which now they've kind of recently they came out with this like impact report, which actually had good data on memberships and stuff, but they also came out with a redo or like a reorientation of their strategic plan. Did you see this at all?
I haven't seen that PDF yet.
Yeah. So basically, it kind of I interpret it as, okay, we're really going to pivot towards growing membership. So there's a lot of stuff in there about improving stuff for race directors, trying to just get more people involved in racing. Ultimately, memberships. Yeah, these memberships are the bulk of USAT's budget. So how are they going to bring in more money? Well, they're going to have to make sure they get more membership. So yeah, that was kind of the crux of it, was they're pivoting towards profitability, as many folks are these days.
Oh, you gotta. I mean, even if you're not, you have to act like it. You gotta say that. So
yeah, but with USA2 as well, they did come out with a report on kind of 2024 demographics and data, and yeah, some strong, I guess, performance and strong growth in the 20 to 39 age group category, which is huge.
Good.
Like that's great. Yeah, a lot of first time people as well. So ultimately, you hope that these first time people also become second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. time people.
It's all the hybrid athletes coming over.
Just whatever. We're a Big Ten. We'll take the hybrid athletes. We'll take the non-hybrid athletes. Whatever.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure.
Did you hear about, Matt, so this is a little bit more relevant to you and Kirsten, about this huge, like, I think it was
Yes.
$100 million
200 million.
grant, $200 million donation to Team USA athletes, and I don't know if it's retrospectively or if it's in like.
Unfortunately, it's not.
2028.
It's not retroactive. We looked. So
But, okay.
yeah. Do
Yeah,
you know what is
this
it, Lisa?
isn't- So this is what it kind of blows my mind because it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But essentially, people who qualify for the Olympics and Paralympics are going to each receive $200,000 towards post-retirement benefits. However, you don't get that. Like, you get how I read it, maybe this is completely wrong. How I read it was that you get $100K 20 years after you retire or when you turn 45, whichever is later.
Yes. I honestly, you know more than me. It sounds like
That's
I just heard
savage.
the number and I was just like, oh, this is kind of sick.
Well, it's kind of sick, but also not kind of sick because say it was applied to the last Olympics. How old is Kirsten? It's 30.
She's 33.
Okay, she's
Same age as
33.
me. Yeah.
So she wouldn't be able to get that until she's 53.
Is it 20 years or just 45? I mean, it doesn't really matter. You know what? If you got to wait 20 years or whatever, to
I
get
would
your
wait.
100K,
I'll wait.
I would wait. I would wait.
But the rate of inflation at that point, 100K is going to be way more worth it now than it will be in 20 years
This
from now.
is true.
100K
Yep.
might be worth like
True.
10K. We don't know.
Why
There's-
would they
well,
even
it's
do that
so
then?
much-
It's a slap in the face to these athletes.
Right. But then also
Only 100K 20 years down the road. Brutal.
It's about 13
Okay.
grand.
That's because they're investing it and they're paying you based on the interest of that
Yeah.
investment.
Oh, there we go.
See, that's
Yep.
the
That's what I
smart
was
way
gonna
to
say.
think of it. But then how I read it was that then you get the other 100K when you die, like your family.
Yeah, there's like a
gets it.
trust or something, right? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's all good. It's all investments. I'm not
all
saying
good.
no to it.
It makes sense
Yeah,
to
it's
someone.
like free money. It's free money, but in my head I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is great. You get 200K, but not for 20 years, and you only get half, and you never get it the other half. But like, maybe your kids.
Yeah, and I didn't
will
know if
get
one of
it.
them was like, yeah, it's to invest in like a business or I don't know, education or something.
I would reverse mortgage that. I'd like find a company that I'd be like, look, I'm getting this and when I'm 45. So I need like 3K every year. And then once I get 45, I'll pay you back. I'll put something on
There
it.
you go.
I ain't got
There
it,
you
but
go.
I'll put something on it.
We can financially engineer this. I'm sure people are figuring it out as we speak.
But I think back to the USAT point, like I think their main goal should be to make it more affordable for people to get into the sport, to help more grassroots racing happen, to have, I mean, if you think about the ecosystem of racing, is so many races have gone out and just lost it because Ironman has taken the majority of the clout. And while they still require USAT membership to be part of it, it still puts the barrier to entry quite high because most Ironman events are not like totally beginner events. They're pretty intimidating. So the local sprints, the local Olympics, that's where they should be putting a lot more race director focus, and hopefully they are.
Yeah, it sounded like they were trying to figure out ways to basically mentor race directors who are coming in to onboard them on what needs to be done, what's easier. Anything they can do to cut the red tape of putting on races, any way to make these things easier for independent race directors. I know, is it Adam who's kind of been talking to a lot of kind of local independent race directors? Do you know what his findings are in terms of the difficulties or whatnot?
Most race directors are completely open because Adam's main goal is to try to get a little bit some prize money to kind of like stem some more competition at these races.
sure.
Most of all race directors are open for it. They're just having a hard time getting it on their own. So if we raised a ton of money and we're able to funnel that out at certain prize purses over 6 to 10 races in the US series calendar, like that would be something most all race directors would elevate their brand also. So and I think the feedback is like, it's a labor of love to be a race director.
Yes.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. And it's hard. Like, I think as well, it's difficult when, Ironman, we got to say it, Ironman dominates, the mind share or like the attention of triathlon. Like if you're someone who's, thinking about doing triathlon and you're scrolling through like reels and stuff, you're not seeing reels of like an independent race near your house. You're seeing these reels of like, I finished my Ironman after 3 days of training, like shit like that. And so these independent races, I think they're up against, just that kind of headwinds as well, which is difficult. I mean, it gets people into the sport, but if they're only just going into that one funnel, it's not super healthy. I think you really need to, whatever they can do to make things better for these independent race directors is going to be a win for sure. And people want to do the sport. Like also, like with that data, it shows that, there's a lot of people still coming up. People aren't aging out, in the 50 plus age category. Like a lot of people are coming in, younger athletes, blah, blah, blah. And so it's just like, okay, like how can we get them into not just Ironman races, really?
I've got like 16-year-olds I'm coaching for St. George. It's crazy. I've never seen that.
Crazy.
Here's my issue with the Ironman brand.
Okay.
Is that people want to do Ironman races because they're really well put on and they have this big goal of like finishing an Ironman and doing an Ironman. But I think it lacks keeping people in the sport because they do an Ironman and they leave. And I don't think doing Ironmans often as a full-time mom,
like full distance Ironmans.
Full distance Ironmans, I don't think it's healthy. I've never done one, so I can't speak from experience.
Get out of here.
However, I think when you're trying to work 40 hours a week, you have 2 kids you need to raise, and you're trying to do Ironman training on top of that, I don't think it's a healthy lifestyle.
Preach.
I think they should be trying to get more people like, hey, let's open up the 5150 brand, bring back Olympic distance racing. That's way more manageable for people who are actually working 9-to-5 jobs, raising a family. Keep people in the sport, and you're going to make way more money doing that too because they can race multiple times a year, and that's more exciting. So that's my whole spiel with just like people are always like, let's do Ironmans, let's do half Ironmans. I'm like, let's do Olympics and sprints because that's
those
amazing and it's going to be healthy.
The problem is
Lisa,
those things aren't as click-worthy in our algorithmic environment. Ironman is what plays.
Nor is anyone ever like, hey man, you're an Olympic distance triathlete. Wow, I really respect that. I'm proud of you. No one's ever said that.
Well, and the reality is, sprint distance races used to be the entry for most people, like 20 years ago or whatever. Now, honestly, half iron distances, half middle distance, whatever, that's the entry point. For whatever reason, because of the media, because people are just better at training nowadays or they're more familiar with it. I don't know. But that seems to be like, people don't do sprints as their first one. They just go straight into like half iron.
Well, ultras are seeing a huge upswing because it's like, well, how many, like, you've done a marathon? My coworker did a marathon and they're like not the person who does like a marathon. So like, what's bigger? What's better? That's like the everything in this entire world. What's more going to make you seem cooler to your friends? Like, that's it.
That's all we're trying to do is seem cool to our friends.
I think the fact that Nick's coaching four juniors to half Ironman is wild. Like, if we want to pivot to Triathlon Canada for a bit here.
Oh, yes.
We used to have, like, for development, it seems like they have just, from the outside at least, I'm not fully, I know you went through all the Triathlon Canada stuff, but from the outside, it seems like they've completely ditched any sort of development from the youth junior level, and they're just leaving it to the provincial governing bodies. Like, remember the days, I know you race it, I raced it growing up, the junior series. It was like the series to do. It was 4 to 6 races spread across Canada. Every like fast junior that could get there was getting there, and it really built you up to the point where you would do these Conti Cups, and it wasn't a big step, right? And you would get there, and they used to have a bit.
It was appropriate. It was appropriate. Like, you had your peers, right? Like, that was the biggest thing. Like, I feel like I just made a ton of friends. I remember a few races. We definitely raced hard, but then also partied quite hard afterwards as well, which is great, and that's part of like the whole experience. And they've kind of just kind of let that off to the wayside and downloaded it to the provincial federations, like you say. Now they basically just get kids to funnel into these Connie Cups, but like, is that appropriate for a 16-year-old, or does that make sense for a 16-year-old to just jump right into a Connie Cup? I don't know. It's kind of a weird topic. But
16, you're 16, 17, jumping into a Connie Cup, getting lapped out. Like, where's the development in that?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? In Canada at least, the only like appropriate junior series now is in Quebec, and I think they were kind of expecting like Ontario, BC to pick up a series like that, but now Ontario's tried to have the series. You show up and there's 4 guys. And you're racing a draft legal race with 4 guys of varying a bit.
Bring back the junior series.
You got to bring it back, man. I've been preaching this. No one's talked about it. Everyone's just forgotten about it. And I was like, this was like
lobby some folks. Anyways, Triathlon Canada aside. You know,
hey, quick question.
We're niching down big time.
Triathlon Canada. So for USA Triathlon, we have to pay $50 a year for our elite license. What do you guys? What is it?
We pay. I believe we pay both.
USAT
no.
Triathlon.
Well, no. You can pay USAT for one day, whatever, or you can buy membership. I think in Canada, it's you pay your provincial license, and then you also pay Triathlon Canada as well. So it's a little double dip.
But don't you get a Tim Hortons gift card?
you get a double, I think. Yeah, something like that. Tidbits.
You get a guaranteed acceptance for your elite license.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Sometimes you wonder where those fees are going. Anyways.
Triathlon politics aside, Matt, what else do you have on your table of awesome?
Yeah, I feel like this weekend, I believe it's this weekend, is the Ironman Pro Series kickoff. Is that correct?
Get along?
Yes.
What, Nick, you obviously engage with a lot of like your athletes and stuff. Like, do they pay attention to the Pro Series? Like, does that register for these folks?
Not if it's not in the USA.
Okay. But like just in general, like could anyone that you know, like would they know who won the Pro Series last year?
They would probably not.
No. Interesting. It's data. This is data we're getting. But yeah, anyways, the Pro Series, which is a good thing. It's definitely a good thing for pro athletes. Kicks off this weekend at Ironman 70.3 Geelong.
Good name.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue for sure. But yeah, like the Pro Series, from what I understand, there's I think like an extra $2.5 million or something they've offered as a part of this. 18 races. So that's exciting. It's more money for the pros. That's a good thing. Do you agree, Lisa? What do you think?
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit last week.
You love the T100, so I'm curious to hear what you think.
God, don't get Lisa going. She'll contradict herself here at some point, though. Don't worry.
Obviously, more money in the sport is great. However, a triathlete article a couple weeks ago said that Ironman, of pros who raced Ironman races, there were almost like 100 less pros who earned money last year. It made a paycheck in Ironman races.
Interesting.
So while there was more money overall, I think it was like $1.7 million more money of prize money in the Ironman world, there were less pros earning a share of that, if that makes sense. Because they also got rid of about 20 pro races. I think it used to be like 72, and now it's like 50 something.
Okay.
So maybe it's around 20-ish pro races that they got rid of. So I think we're still hit kind of at that point where the top of the sport are making more money, which is great. But we're not really seeing a trickle down effect, in my opinion. But I don't know. I think we'll see a little bit of a trickle-down effect, hopefully, maybe at Oceanside, with it being the same weekend as Singapore and contracted T100 athletes having to be in Singapore outside of those that don't have a green card yet.
I feel like they rolled down pretty far into the ranks at Singapore, too, to try to get some athletes to go there.
Yes, they did.
Any insights?
I feel like more. It seems like more for the women, like the guys. Like, would you say, Lisa, for the women, it had to go a little deeper?
It went deeper, but I think all the women that I talked about were accounted for because Paula Finley can't leave the country because she's waiting on a green card.
Nice, okay.
Ellie Salthouse, I don't believe she's running
injured.
yet. She had knee surgery. Lucy Buckingham?
Yes.
Wait, Lucy
Byram.
Byram. I think she had a pelvic stress fracture.
Bummer.
Imogen Simmons is put on ban for potential doping.
Of course.
And
Let her in.
About that.
We need people. We need bodies.
Emma Pallant Brown is pregnant. So that's 5 people right there that have excuses or.
Yeah. The thing is, I feel like with the T100, their model, it's frustrating to me that they've had to kind of go so far down. Like they say, we want the 20 best athletes in the world, and yet, you're going to have a lot of really great athletes in Oceanside. It's like, well, how can you get these people, instead of doing Oceanside, to come to Singapore? I think they're obviously not paying people, right, to go to Singapore. They're only paying them if they show up.
Yes, there's
I think
no
they need
travel
to change
stipend.
That. They need to change that. If they really want the best people, they got to be paying people to come, even if you're like not a contracted athlete. Like
They got to cover your flights and accoms at least.
At least. But the whole,
especially if you that the other athletes that are racing are getting like a solid paycheck to do this whole series. And I think that's hard.
The incentives are not good. Like for someone to all of a sudden be like, oh shoot, like I can do Singapore. I'm not really fully trained, but it's not going to cost me anything. I'm going to make a couple grand. Screw it, I'll go. Like that's way better than just being like, well, I got to, drop. I'm 2 weeks out from Singapore. Flights are super expensive. Like finding a hotel is super expensive. Like it just, to me, they're not doing it right.
No.
And that's the only thing they're not doing right.
I will say, I think Singapore is going to crush some people's seasons, in my opinion, from the get-go, because it's
of the
so
training.
freaking early and it's so freaking hot. Like it's you remember Miami, Clash Miami in 2022, where I raced it.
I was there.
That was your stardom, Lisa.
Yeah, it was my stardom because I was like walking and stuff, and I was gonna make it to the finish line no matter what. But like people in the women's race dropped like freaking flies.
That was like 12 women dropped out or something like that.
You just had to finish, and you were like making a paycheck.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I feel like I'm curious for the three of you. If you could only watch one race that weekend, maybe you will, maybe you watch none. Which one would you watch, Oceanside or the Singapore race? Which one?
Oceanside.
Lisa?
Oceanside for me, because I'll be awake and participating. But if I was watching it, it's American time.
No. But like without
that. I think Ironman races are more exciting to race, or 70.3.
There's more energy at these races for Ironman. Like there's spectators, there's people everywhere. It's a better energy.
I'll be watching Singapore.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, there we go. We got a Singapore. I just think it's an interesting,
like, a dirty liar.
It's basically a matchup now between Ironman and Singapore. Like this is a great heads up battle for attention, industry attention, whatever. Like I would love those viewing figures, head to head. Who wins? Because it's a great battle, and I think that's something that this is one of these race weekends or races that people should actually tune into. Obviously, because of the just great competition, but also just that dynamic between T100 and Ironman. Maybe they'll be taking shots at each other on the broadcast during. Like I'd love that.
I don't think they're allowed to say each other's names. Go ahead, Garrick.
They
the
should.
Athlete density and the race coverage is still better. T100. I still think.
Yeah, I'd say the broadcast is better.
You're right.
I agree.
But it's not hard to change that for Ironman. They just have to make decisions.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't think the
but they have
athlete
to change
density
that.
is better in terms of like more. I don't know. I just feel like every time I watch T100 races, everyone's like split out by minutes. They're all like nowhere near each other.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
That's true.
It's like that. It's like that at the front of 70.3.
Yeah, but then Sam Long still runs his way from the back of the field. Like it's still like I think T100 has a lot of great assets that they've brought to the table. Let's just say that for sure. They've changed and upgraded the broadcast level. They've really brought the best talent when they can. I think the biggest problem in this whole industry is the professionalism of professional athletes. That is still creeping upward. That needs to be more dominant. But of course,
what does that mean?
Yeah.
Professionalism.
So think about a professional basketball player. Obviously, their contracts are massive, hundreds of millions of dollars. So their accountability, their reproach, their professionalism on camera, their ability to show up and avoid being injured for so long. I mean, they've got the best of the best. I'm not saying that we are there, but I'm letting us know if we should shoot for these other high output sports who have these salaries. If we intend to be asking for larger salaries, and we should show up and be accountable and support each other and the sport and all these ecosystems. It seems like it's still, everyone's still kind of taking bites out for themselves that are not really collectively trying to build the ecosystem as a whole. And that's really the biggest problem.
Are you saying there should be a professional triathletes union or organization?
I don't know if that can be. I don't know if that can be a thing anymore.
It can't be a thing. It can't be a thing. No offense, triathletes, but like, man, like triathletes, it's an individual sport. It's not a collective thing. Like, I just don't know how that ever works.
Golf.
We've tried it. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, golf doesn't have a union, but I mean, at least like golfers themselves, like they play an individual sport. They're out there for themselves, but they've made it work. Tennis has made it work. Like the model is not like it's breaking,
Cyclists
a wheel.
have done it as well.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there is a model. It's I don't know how they go from they get to that. How about that?
Coverage.
But also, I think with like some sort of union, I don't think you can have an outside person running it. I think it has to be run within the body of athletes. So like you can't, like the PTO was never going to work as like a kind of athlete union because you had these outside CEOs kind of managing it. It just, my view of like a union or like a pro triathletes group would just be like, it's run by pro triathletes. Everyone has access to like a big WhatsApp group. Anyone can put comments. You have little different discussions.
This is a fairy tale.
Can you imagine? but just so like we have, and we could just put like votes up there. Like, should Ironman move to like the 20-meter draft rule? All right, and then those are stats you can take. Hey, we have 2,000 professional triathletes in the world. We're all part of this group, and 1,500 voted, and 97% said we should move to this. Hey, this is great data.
You have to be able to put your money where your mouth is, and if there's pushback from Ironman, you have to be able to all not show up and not cherry pick because of the money, right? And
no one's getting paid to give their opinion, so they're not going to give a shit.
No.
Matt, go ahead. What do you think?
No, I know it's a tough situation.
We don't have. I don't think there's an answer. Yeah, there's no answer. Okay, so moving on from Oceanside and T100, what else we got, buddy?
Yeah, I would say, kind of along that lines, I'm just kind of curious what you guys think are the races this year, because there is a lot of pro races, and I feel like this time of year, or right now, is a good time to talk about it. Like, what are the races that people really should tune into? What do you think?
It seems like Roth is like really cranking up the heat, my friend. Like they've got some of the biggest and best names going to Roth already.
It's interesting too, because they've kind of positioned themselves amongst this Kona Nice World Championship split. Like they want to be the World Championships. What have you talked to anyone at Roth about that? Like, do they have any designs like that?
They just have a date. They have a date that they stick to. They have a massive community and ecosystem headquartered out of there, and it just makes sense. Like, I think it just landed that way. I don't think it's an intentional thing, but I think over the last few years, if you do well at Roth, your career will do well. I think everyone's taken note. So that's why athletes want to go.
Yeah, no, that's on the majors for sure. What else, Lisa? What other races?
I think Ironman Texas is going to be a huge race this year.
I agree.
Because you're going to have, I don't know, I
think it's going to be better fields than the World Championship?
No, I don't. But I think for an end of April race, it's going to be insane. Taylor Knibb is going to be there. Gustav, Christian. I can't.
Is Laidlow going to go to that one?
I don't think so.
I think he's still
he's hurting, or he's.
Well, there's still so many names parasites. Too. Yeah, we all got parasites.
Yeah, I do think honestly though that Texas race, it's going to be nuts. All these full distance races that are on the Pro Series, they've all of a sudden become almost World Championship-esque level like races. And really, at the end of the day, by the time you get to Kona, by the time you get to Nice, if people have kind of say you lay an egg in Texas or you don't have a good couple first races, you're under the pump to try and get some good results for this Pro Series, and that could put you in a hole. And I just think, other than probably Roth, other than probably Kona, Nice. The Texas race is going to be probably one of the biggest and baddest of these full
Texas is
distance
going to be
races.
super interesting because it's going to be a world championship field, but no one's going to be in world championship form, right?
Interesting.
And guys are going to try to race it like it's world championship race, and I could see 30 DNFs.
Yeah, I mean, that's great TV, though. This is what, if they want to elevate the broadcast, get those DNFs live, because get that microphone in front of them.
Right in front of them, right?
Get in front of them. Yeah, that's the stuff they need to do for sure.
Yeah. Gustav, you're crawling right now. How do you feel? What's happening?
What's going on?
Did you have breakfast? I think we're going to see, I think we're going to see times drop again. We're going to see 10 to 15 minutes come off some of these Ironman times. Like, it's going to be some of the fastest racing I think we've seen in the sport this year.
Definitely.
Can people maintain that, though? That's something that I just maintain it from year to year. The Ironman Pro Series, in my opinion, I just don't think you can do it year in and year out unless I think there's like 5 people who have that in their DNA. And I think the rest are going to be overtrained or hurt. I don't think it's something.
Cat Matthews still wins every year.
I know, probably. And I think Matt Hansen will do well every year. Like, he'll do solid.
Yeah, you have to have the certain traits or like really you got to be boss on the bike and the run. Really, like that's it. And then not get hurt. So if you can train fairly consistently throughout the year, not get hurt, and you're also very talented at those two, you're going to consistently crush the Pro Series. But you can't get greedy.
Yeah.
You can't get greedy.
How many races do you think you can actually race well in a year?
Wait, give me a distance focus. Like,
can you do 5 Ironman Pro Series well in a year?
Yes. Can you do 5? Or is there always going to be one that's like pretty bad?
Well, if you're really focused on like the 2 world championships, then the other 3 are probably going to not be as good in some ways. That's a thought.
Yeah. I guess, like, how many races can you peak for? Like, how many, like, you have an A race on the calendar, say it's Ironman World Championships, like, that's your big peak of the year. But, like, how many other little peaks can you have?
You almost have to decide, like, to not peak, right?
Right, and just train through.
Well, that's what I've noticed most athletes are doing.
Matt. She's asking you specifically. This is how she gets her coaching.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, my philosophy in training is always to show up on race day, to be able to show up on race day. Ironically, I can't now, but so whatever you do, in training, if you got to dial things back so you don't, hurt yourself even more or whatever, that's how I've been able to do it, and I think it's a good kind of way to go about it if you're targeting a Pro Series. If you're targeting a Kona win, then you got to go all in for something like that for sure.
I feel like athletes are racing less, Lisa, just based off of what I've seen over the last 2 years. The race schedules have gotten, like, some of the bigger players, like, they may race just the 5 necessary or just 4, like, or they're going to bank on the championships. Like, if you want to make a name for yourself in a career, you show up to the big races and you peak those 2 to 3 times a year, and that's just still they have to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Those, and like I said, what are those meaningful races like Roth? I think Oceanside is one of those, just because it's so early. Not because it's Oceanside, just the timing of it. Mm-hmm. Those ones are definitely the big ones for sure.
Jackson won Oceanside, and it didn't a whole lot for him because all they did was focus on Lionel and Rudy sprinting. Like that's the worst win ever for that poor fella. Jackson beats everybody. And I still see Rudy and Lionel sprinting. Like, that's all I see. Like, Jackson won,
You're
guys.
never going to stop seeing that, though.
I know. My God. All right, so where else are we? Any other topics, Matt?
Yeah, I got one more here. It kind of dropped the last few days. The PTO, they actually did receive another funding round, another investment. $10 million. $10 million. Super interesting from this firm, this investment firm called Cordillera. I don't know how you say that. Anyways, this firm is actually, I looked into them and they focus on, is it like niche non-correlated assets, which if you look in what their portfolio is, that includes like things like whiskey, boat marinas, different kind of like agriculture, and now triathlon apparently. So
Obscurity Investments Weekly.
basically, yeah, things other people overlook for some reason, whatever. But honestly, like, I think it's actually, I mean, it's a great sign. They want to put money. They're not putting money into the T100 because they want to just give it away, right?
Believe it or not, I think zero companies will ever invest in anything without requiring some sort of an outcome. Because I think even at the highest brand levels, everybody's answering to somebody up that chain of events. And for us pro triathletes, we're like, oh, they're $1 billion company. They probably just getting rid of that. Like, no, somebody is accountable for that, and they need to show growth no matter the investment.
I mean, I looked at what they have, like their assets under management, and 10 million of 1.5 billion, which is what they have. It's not a huge amount, but they're not throwing this money away. And it's funny because I feel like when I'm writing the newsletter, the T100 is a great topic because it's kind of divisive or whatever. They're these upstart, but they've really, in the last while, I feel like they've got some good tailwinds. They've really brought on some really interesting people that they've hired recently. A couple kind of headline people who are known to have made proper sponsorship deals and are leaders in like the sporting field. So there's that. Yeah, obviously this money is coming in. They've got some new races. That Vancouver race is very intriguing. I'm expecting it to actually do quite well because that area is almost kind of seriously underserved in terms of having a big race like that after Garrick, Ironman Canada left in Penticton. RIP. So yeah, I think T100, actually there's a lot of tailwinds for them, which is exciting for the sport in general. So yeah, they got money, so that's great.
But they're all still going to lean heavily into the participation aspect of the sport. They have to. And that is even Super Tri they're now
everybody's pivoting to events. Yeah. Everyone's pivoting to events.
You have to own events if you're going to want to make it.
Yeah, and that's what both these guys have discovered. They used to be media properties. Like T100 was a media property, and Super Tri was a media property, and now they are pivoting to mass participation events.
Can we just say a little amen to the fact that back in 2020 or 2021, that Ironman refused to be bought by the PTO?
That was because the thing?
That was the thing, yeah. Wow. The PTO tried to buy Ironman, and I think for all of our sakes, thank God that didn't happen, in my opinion.
Honestly,
I think they would have killed
Yes.
Professional triathlon.
Yeah, they would have for sure. But I do like having a foil to Ironman. I think it's kind of fun for folks in the media like myself to have this kind of warring factions. It creates drama, intrigue, and so I'm a fan of T100, and I hope they continue to just keep growing. I don't know what their business model looks like, if it's sustainable, but man, it's good entertainment. I love it.
Do you want to see a more of a split between PTO and T100? Do you want to see the PTO just like dissolve?
I don't think the PTO should exist. I don't know why they keep it's just so confusing. Like when I write my newsletter now, I never say PTO. I only say T100 because that's how it should be. Like it's all about T100 now. PTO, it's a relic of the past. Just get rid of it.
But isn't it just the rankings now? PTO, that's all it is.
I guess, yeah.
Which I think that another something else should house them if you want actual real rankings.
Call Thorsten back.
It should exactly, but Thorsten's under the T100 umbrella now. You got it. You had to separate that way back in the day. It has to be its own entity. It has to be like global triathlon world rankings, and it's not tied to anything. Because we all just got the email from PTO announcing a new athlete board, and my first reaction to that was like, what the fuck does the athlete board do? Nothing. They don't do anything. So just get rid of the PTO. Say like, hey, it was a great run, guys. This is us. We're T100. We're events brand. And this is what we're focusing on. And I think all of us would be like, great, cool. We can accept it. At least personally, I can accept that a little bit more. But like you said, Matt, get rid of the PTO.
Just transition ownership to the Real Triathlon Squad LLC, and we will manage the PTO, the board. We'll make this work. We got what we need to do it. I know it.
You'll get the members for sure.
I have a dream.
That's it though. That's all I've got today.
Well, those are good headlines. I mean, I think the industry having T100 and Ironman as two entities that are gaining clout and have their own, history and values that they're bringing to the table. T100 is obviously going to have their own championship. Ironman has their own championship. Challenge has their own championship. Like, I think at the end of the day, it's all good. This is all good for sport.
Where does Challenge fit in all this? Because honestly, I don't feel like
Europe?
I guess like Challenge people. I feel like we forget about I definitely forget about them. Like they don't have beef like Ironman and T100 do, which is unfortunate because I feel like they should. That would get them back in the fold.
They're too good. They're too good and honest and nice.
Yeah,
because they're family.
I mean, they are family. That's it. They're the family brand. Shout out.
I also
Challenge.
feel like all of us being North American based, we just interact with
biased.
Challenge so much less because they have like no races over here. So I'm like,
they actually but they have been making a little bit of a push. Like they bought the race. They did the race in Canada, Quebec City. They bought a kind of classic Esprit triathlon in Montreal, and they bought a race in New Jersey as well. So they've got a few irons in the fire, so to speak.
I'm going to bring them to the USA. Just let it be known.
St.
George Challenge, St. George.
I can't say anything about it, but
okay.
But you never know what could happen. I think having known much of like the behind the scenes people, because they're an organization that is still small. Like Ironman is still pretty small at their headquarters. Like there's not a lot of people making big decisions, and same thing at Challenge. But Challenge, their expos, the way they run things, they're very similar. They just are in Europe. But they've got amazing races in Europe, some of the most beautiful locations in Europe. So I think like that's why like they probably don't need to come to dumb North America really, when we're all just like, you're not Ironman. I don't know you. You can't close my roads. Get out of here.
Yeah. Hopefully they can. Maybe they're just slow rolling it, and we'll wake up one day, and there'll be a whole challenge, from coast to coast.
Well, the biggest problem I see with the Challenge ecosystem that could be a misstep is they basically license all of their events. So if you want to put on a Challenge event, you've got to do it. You've got to build it, get the city, and then you go to Challenge and like, I got this event. I want to license it. What support will you provide me? And I think then they help facilitate everything else. But it doesn't just like, there's not like a massive, we got to go buy this race and then we got to shut it down 2 years later and then we got a conflicting race over there. Like they're not doing that. They want the races that are like going to work without like closing down mom and pop shop.
Nice. Good.
All right. So I think let's move on to one of our favorite sessions. Thank you. I didn't start it, but I'm going to take the lead on this one. So this is pass or smash or pass. It'll go to whoever goes first. Doesn't matter. You can just all shout it out like Jumanji style. Doesn't matter to me. But all that matters is you got to back it up with as much or little detail as you want. So the first one for today, and this is a Utah-ism that I just got to bring up because I see it all the time. So let me paint this little brief picture. You're hungry, you're starving, you got this one place in mind, you know what you want, you got to have it or else, but there's like 30 cars in line. Waiting in line for food, pass or smash? Or smash or pass?
Smash.
What?
Smash.
Yeah, if you really love it, then you wait for it. If you love
said
it,
it's
if you
the
truly
only place.
Yeah, but I will pass. I will never if I gotta wait for more than 10 minutes for that food, it's not that
waiting.
good.
And by the time I get it, then it's just the experience is so elevated.
Oh my god. Oh god. Okay, so how about this? Let's say that the drive-through is super long, but you could easily park your car and walk in and get roughly half that time. Going inside instead of waiting in line, smash or pass?
I think it depends on what you were doing before.
No,
you're trying to guide our answers.
Yeah. I'll walk inside. I don't care.
All right, good.
No, actually, I'll wait. I'm just going to be that guy. Just wait.
There'll be like 40 cars in line, and somebody will go to the end of that train and be like, yeah, I'll wait with this. I'll wait with everyone. This is
Those are like those like Dutch Bros coffee or whatever, those.
No, it's Raisin Canes.
Oh yeah,
they have
this is the third episode we talked about this.
Or In-N-Out.
They should
In-N-Out
sponsor you.
also.
This is a branded segment. Raisin Cane.
Raisin Canes. Pass or Smash sponsored by Raisin Canes.
All right, next one. Smash or pass, pass or smash. Which one do you say first?
Smash or pass? Or pass or
Okay.
smash? Nick, yeah, pass or smash.
I just feel like it hits me different every time. Okay, so the topic is peeing on your bike.
Smash.
Like while riding?
While
or-
racing, like,
during a race.
oh yeah, smash for sure.
Not to assert dominance.
Mark your territory.
Okay.
I
What
need
if
to
you're-
transition.
Okay, so that's during a triathlon. Everyone will do it. What about during a Grand Fondo or something?
Ooh,
Uh,
I peed my chamois during Leadville 100 last year.
how many
Just like
people
a little
were
bit.
amongst you though?
I was by myself.
You're by yourself.
But it's like a
This is
shit
not at the
you're
start. What about the starting line of Leadville? But you gotta go because,
Pee.
but like people like I pee on the start line of a triathlon for sure.
Everybody
Yeah,
does.
but-
You look at everybody's leg on the start line, and it's
Yeah,
just a
it's
stream.
dribbling.
Yeah.
But Leadville, like in a bike race, though, I feel like less socially acceptable. But maybe people do, and you know, we gotta get
Yeah,
a fact check
I think
on
it's
that.
common. I think it's common for like really long races to just like pull it out and just like do it to the side while you're rolling.
sure.
But you're
What
a
about-
girl. You can't just whip it out. You just gotta
That is the only good part about being a
saturate
guy.
your chamois.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is the benefit of being a guy.
I mean,
Group
I
rides
won't even.
sometimes, like
I don't even stop to pee for training rides. I don't stop.
Wow.
I lean off. I do a Tour de France.
You don't
pee.
have time. You're too busy.
Yeah.
You don't have time to
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, I'm
way.
not stopping. I'll stop for a coffee, and that coffee stop, I've timed it. They're roughly between 2 to 3.5 minutes.
Damn.
That's all I
This
give
guy's
it.
not enjoying. We're not enjoying this coffee. This is just pure caffeine.
This is-
pure
yeah.
stimulant. We're not, savoring
Yeah.
the
anything.
hottest cup
Nah.
of coffee, and Nick just smashes straight down the gullet.
Yeah.
Takes off.
I eliminated taste years ago. It was making me soft.
Yeah.
Okay, so along the same lines, smash or pass peeing in the pool.
Smash.
Smash.
Well,
Like.
how can you not?
Okay.
Yeah. That's why they have chemicals.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go once
I feel like that's a swimmer thing.
one level
You're gonna
deeper.
get canceled for this one.
One level deeper. Peeing in the
Matt Sharp
pool.
pees in the pool.
Put in the newsletter.
Peeing in the pool when you're dehydrated. Smash
Ooh,
or
that's
pass.
bad because then it's yellow.
Because then you're like waving under. You're like, why are you waving underwater? I'm trying to dilute this shit, man.
Still smash.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows.
Oh man. I will say that the only time that I know that I was in the wrong pool was when I was swimming with this group in Austria. And after our 10 or 15 minute warm up, we would stop the swim. Everybody got out and went to pee. I never got out. Like they did it well. They were like, no, we don't pee in our pools.
No, they respect each other. I don't apparently.
I think. All right, peeing in the pool and immediately dunking your snorkel, and then
Is that your
after
guilty
you pull it
pleasure?
out of your bag. You know when you pull your snorkel out of your bag and then you dunk it before you put it on?
That's supposed to cleanse it, right? That's supposed to like kill the bacteria.
I feel like
gross.
that's someone's definitely. I'm always like, did I just pee? No. Okay.
But the chemicals
Surely
are
no
gonna
one
kill
else
it
did around
anyways.
you.
No. Yeah.
Okay, next topic, a little
Marinated.
bit different. Do we have any more P references we need to go through?
This is it.
I'm here for them all. Getting a massage, professional paid for massage from the same gender, pass or smash?
Smash.
Smash?
They're good.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no one's like, no, I want a girl if you're a guy, or girls want a guy.
I don't. Quality is quality, and that's
Yeah.
all that
All right.
matters.
I got
My
a guy,
massage
Marcos.
therapist is like
He's the man.
250 pounds. He's bald. And he
What are
like,
people
works
paying
all
for
day.
massages these days? We got to do a market check here. What are
Ooh.
people paying?
Ooh.
Oh, wait, distance. How about distance? Not distance, duration. How long?
An hour, just a standard hour.
$100.
110.
Yeah, I'm usually around there, just over 100, maybe 120 Canadian.
Well, yeah, I was 120 last week, and I feel like that's like on the lower end for Boulder, unfortunately.
With tip?
Curious. That's no tip. But this one, she said no tip. So I was like, okay, I guess I won't.
She's like, I work for myself. It's all a tip.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. I feel like, yeah, in the last few years, it's definitely gone up for sure.
I think,
But
normally they're like 130 to 150 bucks for an hour, but like I like a 90-minuter, and that is really spendy.
Yeah, if you get someone good though, and they know what they're doing, you're like, yeah, worth every penny. But if you get someone who it's just not, then you're like, why? I could have just like rolled, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just, they don't press hard.
Or they
and
just
you're
don't know
like,
how to get like the certain muscles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
When you
there
find
go,
a good
market check.
massage therapist, you're like, can I book you for like the next 4 years?
Yep.
But I can't even do that.
We
Like,
flew
how
someone
many-
up. We flew someone up from Phoenix during Kirsten's like Olympic qualifying campaign. Twice
Stop,
we flew her.
seriously?
Oh, Byron?
Nope. A woman named Shauna from Phoenix. She's incredible. Top 2 of my life, and I've definitely seen some folks for treatment over the years. And yeah, and that's it. When you get someone, especially in that kind of crunch time situation, yeah, that was.
I'm going
it.
to drop
It's
her
not that
number in
far
the show
away, too.
notes.
I could for sure. Yeah, yeah. Actually, no, she doesn't. I don't even know if she's taking on new clients, but we can. I'll DM you.
Okay, here's my last one, and then if you have one you want to bring up afterwards, Matt, you guest of honor, if you have one, think on it. But the last one, and this one just is really because I'm about to go on a trip of epic proportions. Standing up the second the seatbelt light drops off once you park at the gate, immediately, like a champagne bottle, and you just rush, smash or pass.
Pass. I hate when people do that so much.
Pass.
Yeah.
Europeans love it.
Yeah. No, everybody. There's a lot of folks all over the place. I feel like who love that, and I can't stand it. It's. Have you ever had? Actually, I had this a bit ago where they were like, we need people who like. There's people who are gonna miss their connection or whatever.
Nobody lets them out.
No. But like a lot of people went, blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, sick. They're gonna make their flights. Awesome. Like happy to let them go. And then one of the people who went off, I saw him at the baggage claim. So I was like, hey, you were taking advantage of that situation. So I don't love that. Don't love that.
I think that's a hard pass or smash because, like, sometimes, like, you got to stand up, but I don't know if you got to be standing up in the aisle and, like, getting in people's
like
way.
hogging the aisle so nobody can get overhead, or, like, just claiming your territory and, like, not even being of aid to anybody who's trying to get their shit.
Just getting in the way. Especially
And has anybody ever, like, sit in the back of a plane on purpose, just do it, and then watch how people exit. It might drive you insane if you pay attention to how each person has no clue that they're about to get off a plane until the exact second they get off the plane, and they're like, oh, I have shit to get, I'm sorry, give me another 35 to 40 seconds. Like that happens.
That's why people stand up.
Yeah.
That's why they're tired of it.
No, I don't know.
It's like traffic on the road because the road makes a slight bend to the left.
Yeah, like better hit the brakes. Everyone slows down, and then it's a traffic jam. All right, those are my pass or smashes. Hopefully they were great. Matt, did you do you have anything unpopular, popular opinion that you'd like to poll?
I can't think of anything right now. Those are
Come on. There's got to be
outed
something
me as a
out
guy who pisses in the pool, so that was productive.
Well, there's one rule that I've heard, and I've said this probably since I was like, I don't know, 12. My grandpa told me, he's like, there's two types of people out there. There's people who pee in the pool, and then there's filthy fucking liars.
Exactly.
And I've never forgotten that.
Except for those Austrians, they are pure.
Yeah, you could drink that pool water.
Not when you're in it.
Not when I'm in it.
But there's always that one kid on the swim team that just wants to get out of the pool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was always convenient.
The set was too hard. You needed a break.
In closing, Matt, tell us about your podcast, what it kind of is the focal point, and leave us on this this high note?
Yeah, the podcast, we've done like 6 episodes now, and ended up doing it with a good friend. He's an age group triathlete, Dr. Jeffrey Sankoff. So it's kind of like it's like the newsletter in a podcast form. We talk about news, some training tips. If there's a cool paper, like scientific paper that comes out, he breaks it down. Usually, I'm not qualified to opine on that stuff, but yeah, definitely interesting. Apparently, not long enough of a podcast. So yeah, we're gonna have to try and fill some time doing that. But yeah, definitely just trying things. We're all trying things out here. But also the newsletter. I write the newsletter. Subscribe, Tempo News.
TheTempoNews.com. Subscribe with code RTS that he's going to go generate right now.
Yeah, RTS 69 for a nice code discount. I don't know. No code required. It's free forever. We just want your attention.
That's right.
Yeah, and if you want to sponsor this week's Tempo Talks or Tempo newsletter, reach out to Matt Sharp, matt@tempotalks@gmail.com.
Matt@thetemponews.com.
Matt at thetemponews.com.
You were close. You're close.
Now, I have his real email, but I won't share that.
No, you have my burner email.
MattSharp69@hotmail.com.
No, it's way worse.
Jeez.
Well, Matt, thanks for being on. If you ever have guests or anything, I've specifically invited you to this show. I think 3 or 4 times. Just saying,
exactly.
Pay for it. I don't know.
We need to. We're getting there. We're getting there. You will be on for sure.
Spread the well.
Yeah.
Thanks again, buddy. Any final words?
Final words. Nothing crazy. Thanks for having me. And yeah, we had some fun. We learned a lot of things on this podcast. I hope people listening don't hate me or all of us.
No way.
Don't worry. Nobody listens. It's fine.
Perfect.
There's only 150,000 people who've ever listened, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
All right, on that bombshell,
Sweet.
thanks again. Peace.
Au revoir.